From the beginning, I understood that we, at this fight, we will have not equal resources and opportunities. Because their family is close to the government, they are wealthy.
After hours of torture, Saltanat says you will go to prison for this for at least 10 years. Do you think that's when he decided that he won't let her leave this restaurant?
This is decision-making point when he decided that it will be easier to kill her. I believe he couldn't break her because she was fighting. And I believe that was one of the points why he was so mad, that she is not obeying.
Why do you think we believe that it could be the victim's fault?
Mentally, we are valuing men higher than women. We're expecting the boy. And even if the girl comes, we have a tradition to name her Olbosun. That means in English,
let the next one be a boy.
Yes, well, I believe it's terrible. That's how we disrespect the life itself.
Welcome, I'm Timur Balambetov, and this is a special episode of the show. Today I would like to talk to you about the case, the court case that all of us, the nation, and even viewers from all over the world have watched for several months. On May 13th, Kuandyk Bishimbayev, ex-government minister who has brutally murdered his wife Saltanat Nukenova after torturing her for almost 8 hours, has been sentenced to 24 years in prison. The murder itself and horrifying details of the murder have really shocked the nation, but also shone a light on femicide that has been going on in our country for too long. UN estimates about 400 women die from domestic violence in Kazakhstan every year. We of course don't know the real numbers of those crimes. Today I would like to talk to AITBEK AMANGELDI, Saltanat's older brother, who bravely fought not only for his sister, but also became a champion for the rights of those who do not have the voice. Aitbek is with me today. Welcome, Aitbek, and thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. I know that you've been interviewed a lot, and this is probably not easy to talk about this all the time, so I really appreciate that you agreed to come. First of all, I would like to ask, now that the verdict has been announced and Bishimbayev got 24 years in prison, is that a verdict that is satisfactory? Are you happy about it, or is it not something you had hoped for?
Of course, what we expected is lifetime sentence. Eventually, we got 24 years in maximum security prison. Despite that this is not what we expected, we cannot change it. To change it, we will have to go through the whole trial again. And that's not the thing you would want to repeat. So basically at this point, we accept this decision, as this decision was made by people of Kazakhstan against Bishimbayev. And well, basically, despite we cannot disagree at this point. We provided everything, all the information, evidences, witnesses, everything that we could do, we did. So basically at this point, we are at the point of acceptance. We are accepting it, we're just accepting it. There's nothing we can do more at this point. But we can do more in other cases for other women. That's why we are continuing our work at this path. Yeah,
thank you. And I will ask you about the foundation that you started a little later. But I would like to ask, unfortunately, violence, domestic violence, abuse happens all over the world. Why do you think that Saltanat's case drew so much attention, not only domestically, but also internationally, where if you look at news outlets and you search for Kazakhstan, this was the main agenda, and so many of them. The news were about the case, about the ex-government minister murdering his wife. Why this case?
There's a few points. The first of all, I believe Saltanat was a unique person herself.
Unique person.
Unique person, yes. As I said once before, she was like a sun, you know, like in our world. And the second thing is this problem of domestic violence and abuse it's common.
It's universal.
It's universal, yes. It's not only in Kazakhstan or CIS countries, it's all over the world. And at this point, this case becomes so kind of popular because people had a chance to kind of meet Saltanat and realize what kind of person she was. That's why they've been able to empathize and support. And of course, at this point, international community, I believe, trying to change the laws and the attitude towards domestic violence with the help of this case. I mean, like on this wave that happened here in Kazakhstan to make changes locally in different countries. That's why Buryatia,
yes.
I believe Kyrgyzstan and some other countries claim that they are aiming to criminalize domestic violence, and that's a big step.
Yes, and thank you for your fight for those who could not protect themselves. And I honestly believe that it was the fact that this case was so, in a good sense, publicized that it helped our country finally change the laws, because the activists and the lawyers have been fighting for it for years, and it was not accepted in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, or 21?
2017.
17 first, then 20 or 21, and now finally. Now another question is whether we will be able to actually see it through and to see that the law works and that perpetrators will get punished and not just be told not to do it again like it was before. So hopefully, and we as a society, as civil society, will see to the fact that it happens. But I'm interested, it's curious to know, and I think it would be interesting. By the way, some questions would be repeated because you've been asked about these things so many times before, but for the viewers that do not speak Russian or Kazakh, maybe it would be helpful to hear from you. So I'm sorry if I'll ask for some questions that you've answered before. But did you, going into this, and of course this was hell for your family for 6 months, on top of loss of your sister, someone you loved so dearly. But did you even have the slightest idea of what you're getting into, of what this would turn into?
Of course no. From the beginning, I understood that we, at this fight, in this case, at this trial, we will have not equal resources and opportunities.
Why did you think that?
Well, because their family is close to the government. They have some influence there, still have. The secondary, they are wealthy, like rich wealthy. And if you will see at our side, of course, we are a respected family, but our income is like kind of a little bit more than average.
A little higher than middle class?
Yeah, maybe a little bit higher, yes, because we can afford the lawyers and fight. But we are not even like close or similar in that terms. That's why I understood that this public attention is the key to winning the trial. And that's why we are provided so many interviews, and that's why well, basically at first, before even understanding that, we had to go out to public to fight this news that Saltanat was a slut, she was drug addicted and stuff like this. The first, this was the main reason we went out to public. And then eventually we understood that we are a lot of people claiming support, and this support is essential in this fight. And of course, when the killer asked for the jury, we understood that this will be a fight not like our family against Bishimbayev, but people of Kazakhstan against Bishimbayev.
Yeah, I think they really shot themselves in the foot with that one. I don't think they realized what that would turn into. He was probably convinced that he would sweet talk everyone into believing what his version of the story was. And that's my question. How did you manage to, at least outwardly, to stay so composed and calm when they were bad-mouthing, defaming Saltanat's memory, calling her a drug addict, alcoholic, psychotic, emotionally unstable, constantly in different relationships, naming big names and, you know, pointing to the fact that she was all in it for the money only, and he was a poor victim of that plan? How, I mean, I wanted to scream when I saw that, heard that. How did you stay calm?
There's a few things that helped. First of all is the support of people, like everyday messages that they don't believe him and they support us and support the truth they're speaking. Secondly, I worked a lot with psychologists who also provided me instruments like depersonalization. So basically, I took myself and my person out of the situation and kind of watched it through from the backside, and that helped.
Not to get too involved emotionally, yes, and burn
not
out.
Not to blown out.
Yes.
Because sometimes the feeling I had at the courtroom, was to just blow. I mean, like
blow up in the moment. So how would you calm yourself? What would you do in those moments?
I thought about Saltanat. The whole fight was about her, and I couldn't allow myself to somehow do anything wrong in terms of the trial and inside the courtroom. Mm-hmm. Basically, everyone was judging about Saltanat based on the way I act, based on the way how our family represent themselves, and that was a real deal. Thanks to all the support and to psychologists, I believe I managed through the trial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. By the way, did the other side provide any evidence of her being an alcoholic, of her, you know, screaming at people, cussing at people, being aggressive, being psychotic? Anything? Mm-mm. Videos, audios,
nope,
anything?
Nada.
Zero.
Exactly. Basically, it's only his words.
Yes.
And even when we played audio messages during the trial, we heard that he is using like bad languages and Saltanat is answering calm. Mm-hmm. And even these last videos that we saw from his phone, he was aggressive one. Mm-hmm. None of the videos or audio messages or tapes or whatever it is was an evidence that could prove that she was aggressive or abusive or somehow acted inappropriately.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, and I know this because I've been talking to people, you know, sometimes you're in a taxi and you're talking to a cab driver or you meet other people, and unfortunately, some were convinced by his story mm-hmm. that it was her who forced him to do this. It was her who abused him emotionally, and he finally could not compose himself and in some kind of an, you know, state did this, but it was her fault. Why do you think in our society we believe that it could be the victim's fault that she was murdered?
There is plenty of reasons. Well, basically we have patriarchy here in Kazakhstan, that's why, and like mentally we are valuing men higher than women. Mm. Even from childhood, from the moment of pregnancy, we're expecting the boy. Mm. And
we're hoping it's going to be a boy.
We're hoping that's going to be a boy. And even if the girl comes, we have a tradition to name her Ulbolson. That means in English,
let the next one be a boy.
Yes.
And there are variations of that name.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's, well, I believe it's terrible. That's how we disrespect the life itself. I mean, like, despite woman or man, both have the right to exist and live, and at our mentality and traditions that the men have more value than women. This is one of the reasons why
people would believe
that kind of story.
Mm-hmm. What do we do to change that? And is that is that the situation you grew up in? Were you valued more than Saltanat growing up in your childhood? That is not your family's story.
That's not our story, yes. Actually, vice versa.
She was the princess?
She was the princess, she was allowed everything. She was kind of a little bit spoiled, a little bit in terms of her character. And I was always responsible for everything she's doing. I mean, like, as an elder brother,
yes. It was your job.
It was my job to look after her. So basically, at our family, the woman's life is valued, not valued more, but we understand that women need protection, basically on the physical level, that men are stronger in any way, physically,
yes.
and woman is not that strong. So basically, that's how I was raised, that men have to protect women. And but that's not how everyone thinks, and this is how we a little bit different inside of the Kazakhstan in different parts in that terms.
Yeah, well, I think that's another part of our culture that we need to work on. We really need to work on, because we're witnesses to what it brings to, yes, what the result could be when you actually believe that someone's life is valued less than others. Let me ask you, you, like I said, were very with it, all together with it during the court, and there were only several moments when you allowed yourself to be emotional, and one of them was when the court and you were shown videos that you just mentioned from the phone of the murderer. There were, what, 20-some videos? 27 videos. And to our viewers, I'd like to just explain, if you are not, if you don't know, if you haven't heard about this, these are videos at the night of the murder, and the morning of the murder, if I'm not mistaken, where
from 6 a.m. till 8:30.
Yes, 30. About, yeah, where he is torturing her, where he is beating her, not letting her go to the bathroom, and pointing a camera at her privates. I'm sorry about the details, but just to make her say that she had a relationship with a famous businessman. What is this obsession, first of all, with this businessman?
As far as I know, when Bishimbayev was Minister of National Economy, and the second person was a huge businessman, they had a lot of struggles in terms of investments like this big money and big business. They had that controversy and the fight.
That's when the conflicts happened.
Yes,
okay.
Eventually. The outcome right now that the second person have a good position, have a big business, and like very well known and respected man.
Yes.
And the second one is ex-criminal, right now, like
in prison.
In prison, yes. And but it happened before the trial and everything, the videos. And at that point, he was like ex-criminal who had like low respect. That was this in
2 divorces.
2 divorces. So he basically didn't kind of made him up as a man. He didn't build it up, and that's why I believe he had a jealous kind of like to him. It's basic, but it is. The second person become everything that he wanted to be.
Oh, so that was personal vendetta. Yeah, that was very offensive for him.
That was inside of his mind.
In those videos, after hours of torture, Saltanat, almost with no force, no power, says you will go to prison for this for at least 10 years. But do you think that's when he decided that he won't let her leave this restaurant?
This is decision-making point when he decided that it will be easier to kill her, never to deal with all the prosecution for the abuse he made, the violence he made on Saltanat. Basically, I believe he made a decision and made the plan how to kill her and how to get rid of the body and how to claim that she is a missing person. That's why the phone was moved around the town.
The city, yeah.
Around the city. And a lot of different steps was made. They tried to take the body out, but the car was outside. Then he went to take car into the parking lot. So it was basically you need to take the body to the elevator, go one stairs lower. It's inside of a building, and he had the control of all of the CCTV cameras.
And ordered everyone to leave the building,
Yes,
all the
yes.
staff? Yes.
Yes, they claim that they have some technical issues during that day and the restaurant is not working. So basically they planned everything to get rid of the body and claim the missing person. And then he had a meeting with this woman who kind of maybe took the evidences from the place. I mean, like there was the blows and the jacket that was white and all in the blood, and a lot of different stuff that missing from the crime scene. Yes.
You're talking about Nassyrbekova.
Yes, about her. And eventually, despite that she might have been taken the evidence from the crime scene, she is also discovered that at time when Saltanat went to the gym, went home, well, football.
So he was using her as an alibi.
Yes, as an alibi. Yes, that's the word I wanted to use. So basically, she was an alibi that next time if we would look for a missing person, not like doing this trial about murder and killing.
She would confirm.
She would confirm that he was there, that he was there with her inside the building while Saltanat was away. That she left the building. That's how they planned it.
Wow. Now we don't have any proven evidence of this, but do you think
I believe the phone that was going around the city and
No, that's not my question. Do you think this lady was in on it? Like she knew everything that was going on and decided to go into the restaurant knowing she would be an alibi? Or
I believe yes. I believe she knew that. During the trial there was a lot of videos made, and one of the videos was made by a profiler who was describing where people lying and
body language everything. There's that points to that.
And when I've been listening to it, I heard that the killer met this lady at gym, and the name of the gym is Fitness Palace.
Yes.
And it was 10 years ago, he claims. She claims that they met not that long time ago.
Yes.
So basically this points out that they knew each other for a long time. And the way she put his name in her telephone book, that it's only his first name.
First name basis, yeah.
Yeah, without the last name, any words like restaurant or whatever it is, like minister. That means she knew him very well, and that she has an idea that who we write down in the phone book only by first name, only our closest people.
Usually
That's it. That's why it all takes us to the point that she knew that it's happening there, and she was kind of there to help him color everything that happened.
Do you think the fact that the case and just the whole process of the hearings drew so much of the media attention and just attention of the citizens, because millions were watching it daily for 2 months almost. Do you think that helped the case, or did it make it more difficult?
Of course it helped. It's a huge help that I'm thankful for. Thanks to all that viewers, like millions of people who've been watching this, million eyes that seen everything that happens. Some of the things we never saw, like the reaction of Bishimbayev's mother on this Gulnara's speech. Yes. That she was smiling, like knocking her head, that she was like, it was almost that she was saying what she expected, and she was like, yes girl, go ahead, you're doing the right thing, like that kind of stuff. We never saw it because from our point of view in the courtroom, we don't see her and his face at all. Basically, there is defenders, Bishimbayev defenders, and they are covering them. But the camera is watching everything from the top. That's people seeing more at this point. And of course...
and they caught it.
They caught it,
They caught that moment.
They caught that moment, and not only that moment, a lot of different moments, things that for that. And of course, as a public trial that been streamed online in YouTube, this case was, clear, transparent in terms that all the decisions, all the evidence, all been transparent, and there was no room for some kind of the movement, like, you know, like bribes or stuff like this. That's almost impossible while the whole country watching, and like a lot of different other countries watching, the whole world watching.
Yeah, I think that I agree that it helped to keep everything, as you said, transparent. Please tell me, because we live in a culture where shame and what others think of us is so important, sometimes too important. Have you gotten any maybe pressure or any calls or any requests not to publicize this so much from higher ups or anything like that? No pressure, nothing like that?
I had no contact with any type of the government representatives. Nobody told me anything except, well, the trial, the judge and the secretary of the judge.
Yes.
Basically, I was able to speak out as much as I kind of want to, but there was only one restriction made by the judge, not to discuss the process itself. I mean, like how my feelings about the judge, about the prosecutors, about anyone, because after the first trials I was doing the streams in Instagram, live streams, went live and was telling how I feel about the day-to-day at the court.
Yes.
And that's why they blocked that.
I remember that. I remember that moment because that could have affected
the jury.
Yes.
Yes, and I believe that was the right thing to do. And when she said that in the courtroom, we said, yes, of course, we understand and accept your decision. I believe that was a good thing, the right thing to do.
Yeah. In this process, I think for a lot of people and viewers from other countries, some things do make sense because, like we said, violence, abuse is everywhere, unfortunately. But please explain to me, your sister seemed like a very caring, loving person, very open person, and you seem to have a great relationship. You joke about how you weren't friends and when you were kids, but later on in life you became best friends and very close. How is it that someone like that, who was always, you know, you said like a sunshine to your family, very outgoing, very free spirit, so to speak, how is it that she meets someone and within a year, was it just a year? Within a year, her personality, her self-worth, her relationships change, she becomes so secluded and inwardly focused in that it's only about her and him, not allowing contact with others. How did that happen in such a short period of time? How do you explain that?
Well, first of all, right before meeting him, she was engaged. And
she was engaged?
She was engaged and she cancelled the wedding. They had a kind of quarrel with her ex-boyfriend. And knowing Saltanat, the way she reacts to that kind of stuff is she going to depression. She's like half of the year not going out at all. Then like a year later she becomes like slowly going out.
That was her pattern in general, yeah?
Yes.
And you knew that?
Yes, I knew. And I was expecting that she would close up right at this point. And when she was like...
fragile?
Fragile, yes. At this point he came. And he just like kind of grabbed her and took her through all the steps, like dating, engaging, marrying, and then breaking her. Well, eventually, I believe he couldn't break her, because she was fighting. She was telling that he would go to jail, that she will leave him and stuff like this, that he's crazy. And I believe that was one of the points why he was so mad, because he was able to control and break under his influence everyone except her. And that was the thing that was making him go mad, that she is not obeying when he provides his commands. That's how he got used to build relationships and like talk to people. Well, the second part, I believe it's the things that is discussed right now. It's not the thing that I'm into so much, but there is a kind of part of a mystery in this story, and there is a saying that he went to this psychic here and asked her well, he found out about Saltanat while she was engaged in relationships and everything was fine. Then he went to his psychic, and she and her ex-boyfriend broke up. And basically there was no any obvious reason for a breakup of these relationships. So a lot of people right now are thinking that he and this psychic did something for them to split, and then did something for Saltanat to fall in love to him. I'm not sure how it works and if it's true or not, but that's one of the points that is spoken out loud.
Is this the same psychic that was interrogated during the course?
I believe not.
Okay.
There was a second.
Because that one said, "I'm not really very powerful."
She's okay. Yes, she's not that powerful, I believe. She had the second one in Astana. This
oh
one
my
is
goodness!
Shymkent.
This is ex-government minister who goes to psychic after psychic, doing rituals and things like that. That's just demonic. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
There's still a lot of people who live and believe that psychics can affect the lives. Maybe it is like this. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not into that stuff.
Yeah, me
I'm
neither.
more about the science rather than the mystery and stuff like this.
Yeah. So she was, like you said, in a very fragile place, state emotionally, and that's when he came along and sort of.
And that's why this was actually the only first, even before I met him, I was against this marriage, because I told her when we found out that she accepted the ring.
Marriage proposal? Yeah.
Marriage proposal, yes. I told her that it's okay to date someone at this point, like, you know, to get out of the depression or to get down on that, you know, spiral down. But you're not in the state to make such a serious decision as marriage. You need some time to get yourself in shape again, like, and well, at this point she was already totally in love, as she thought, in the person that was amazing, that how intellectual he was, how he speaks, how he's doing, that he can.
That he was wrongly accused and put in prison.
Yes,
Did
yes,
she
yes.
believe that?
That was his story about his sentence as for corruption, and that's what she told us. And she believed in this, and as a believer, she made us believe that he was wrongly accused by some powerful people who wanted to take him out of the power arena.
Looking for a spare goat or something like that. I see. Yeah, that helps understand the whole process from going from being this, like I said, independent woman who was so free and loving her life and family and friends,
doing the work that she loved. She loved to help girls. I mean, like when they came for some astrological forecast, she provided not only forecast but also like different psychology instruments and methods, how to affect your reality, how to work towards your aims, how to fight your depression and stuff like this. That was not only about the astrology.
Yes.
She was the most popular, not because she was good in astrology, but else she provided the instruments how to get out of depression, troubles in relationships, troubles with kids and parents.
Life issues in general.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I understand.
And that instrument was helpful. That's why a lot of people still are thankful to her.
The strategy of the defense of the murderer was to just badmouth Saltanat constantly, and that's what he did. Again and again and again, that she would basically verbally abuse him, not let him have his life, time alone, anything. Just you think of a bad thing, Saltanat did it to him, is the way he presented it. Do you think had they not chosen that strategy, the verdict could have been different? If he, just said, it's my fault, I loved her, but I just at some point lost it, I don't know what happened, claiming...
Yes, if he would claim that he is actually did it on purpose, but at this point, like not that he was in state of effect. The state of effect is excluded by expertise, but somehow differently described the reason why he did it. I believe it will be the verdict will be different, and the reaction of the public would be different. But every time they spoke out anything bad about the Saltanat, doing this bad mouthing, putting dirt on her name, the public was shocked, and actually it worked vice versa.
It always backfired.
Backfired, yes, at him.
Every single time.
Yes, until the end of the trial, especially in the end of the trial when he claimed Hitler.
Yeah, he quoted Hitler
yes.
at the end. That was,
you know, my face. I
last
was like,
straw.
I gave myself promise that I won't react anyhow on his last words, and I was just like, you know, in my notebook, I'm writing down different things, and when I heard that as one minister of
Third Reich, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He was, claiming it was another person.
Yes. And when I even heard that, I was like, what? Like, it was a shock how he can claim, how can he quote someone from that time of period, especially like it was close to 9th of May when we celebrate our fight.
Well, even if it was in winter, in general, you don't quote someone who killed millions of people.
And that book actually officially forbidden in Kazakhstan. Even the whole book and every quote, and he quoted the forbidden book in Kazakhstan. That's like
in court, in front of a judge.
Yes, as his last word.
Last word, yeah.
Yeah, was a big fuck up. As it is.
Yeah. You know, I think because we've been so used to injustice, unfortunately, I have to state that. I think a lot of people don't trust the fact that he is going to serve 24 years, that he's going to serve it in a high security prison. What do you think about that, and do you believe that justice will served till the end to its fullest?
I believe as this case was so public and got so much attention of local and international media, there is no room for that kind of like escapes or something like this, and especially when the whole world knows how he looks like.
Yeah.
But of course, it's on us, on the public side, on our side, on our family to control that he would sit down the whole sentence, the whole 24 years in the jail, in the prison. So basically, I cannot say at this point will he escape or will not, but I know that we will have to put an eye on him.
Is that something you are gonna control? Watch after?
As far as I can, basically I don't have any access to the prison, and I'm not gonna go to meet them to check if he's still there. But that's the work of the prosecution, of the prosecutor government. There are special prosecutors who work with the jails, and that's how we can control it through the official request, and they will provide us information.
I have to say that I really appreciated the way you handled the public attention to your persona, and even on social media, how your account started growing exponentially just because it really seems like you gave the voice to the voiceless through your page. And also the story of Saltanat and this brutal murder, I think, resonated with so many people. And as a result, you started a foundation that will help the victims of abuse, of sexual abuse, of domestic abuse. Tell me about the work of the foundation, and or is it a crisis center? Yeah, I don't know what the right word would be. And what is what is the direction you guys are taking?
We called it Saltanat Nukenov's Memorial Foundation. Basically, at this point, we have a lot of different actions that works in different ways, and we decided to put it all together and organize it. Despite that, we are at this point to have this volunteers network who are working with these victims of domestic abuse and help providing the psychologists, law support, different type of services, actual service to real person who are in need. So basically, this volunteers network will be merged with the foundation, and foundation will provide the means for emergency cases when we need to react really quickly. because the volunteers network, it needs some time to work through and stuff like this, because it totally out of any funding.
Funding, yes.
Yes. This is one of the main and basic directions that foundation would do. The protection of the victims of domestic abuse. The second part is public work in terms like providing information and changing our optics and perspective on the violence. So we are going to point when we will accept zero tolerance to any kind of violence. There is a case in the United States, by the way, when some speaker, there was a man who wanted to attack some speaker. He went to her house and she was absent, but her husband was at place. So he attacked husband like
with a hammer.
Hammer, yeah, on the head and broke some hands. And this guy with the hammer got 30 years for assault.
30, 30,
yeah, for an assault and the harm he made. But at this case, people all alive. We have for a murder, for killing people, normally not in terms of our case, but from 10 to 12 years.
For taking someone's life.
Yeah, this different type of sentence is describing how we evaluate the life itself in Kazakhstan and how people evaluate it abroad. So basically, if you are doing any harm, you are gonna get like 30 years, and here for killing you get 10 years. I mean, like this is the difference we have to make, like to grow to this point when any violence against the person would be like serious sentence. Not like these 24 years, it was like we had to go to hell and back and again to hell and back, I believe, like in few times to get these 24 years.
As opposed to 30 years for harming a person, severely, but harming.
Yes, yes. Both are terrible, but I mean, like I'm not about the content of the not about the content of the crime, but how public and government reacts to the violence
and values life.
And values your life, of course, as the people's life is the first thing that have to be protected. It's protected by different international declarations and, of course, by our constitution too. But this is how we evaluate it.
And this is one of the directions that you will pursue as well, working with the laws, with the government.
The point of view, the optics, how we are evaluate the violence.
So changing culture.
Changing cultural view, yes. And we believe this is one of the hardest thing. And the third direction is laws itself, like Saltanat's law. Before I explained that the changes that we have right now in the domestic violence law is just the first step. It's a huge step for Kazakhstan, but in terms of the full path, it's just like only the first step. We still don't have articles on stalking, on sexual harassment at workplace, and different others. And that articles are essential, especially like stalking, before the rape, before the killing, before the physical abuse, there's stalking. And if you would be able to stop aggressors and abusers at the point of stalking, we would save a lot of lives and a lot of people from suffering from different kind of abuse and aggression, different type of violence.
I guess my question is, after everything you and your family just went through, do you not feel burnt out, and will you have the emotional and physical power to do this? Because I know you have a job, your parents who really need care and attention right now after everything that happened, and do you think this would be something you can carry on, especially in a long term?
Of course. My work, I mean, like, not that I'm like talking good about myself, but I can do my work decently, I can do it well and have a result. That's the main thing that in my company is valued, and that's why my work is not suffering that much. And we have our agreement how it will work in the future, that it will be part-time job or like by hour, I mean like paid by hour, or on the basis of advisory, we will change. I mean, like, we are still in the good position with my job provider. In terms of my family, this is their desire to continue this work. That's why this foundation would be started on the by the funding of my parents and myself.
Okay, so it was self-funded.
Yes, yes, this is a private foundation. We are not expecting any help from the government.
No donations?
We are planning to work with the business, especially the huge business that makes a lot of money based on here in Kazakhstan, and there is such a word, such a definition as corporate social responsibility. That means that big corporates have to provide back to the people where they are allocated and where they are making their money.
Yes.
So this is one of the ways we are planning to find funding. And basically, this foundation is the legacy, Saltanat's legacy. That's why we're interested in supporting it and moving it forward.
Thank you. And before we finish and say goodbye, I just would like to ask, how are your parents doing now? And I know that there were health issues because of the things that they had to go through during the hearings.
They spent some time, especially my father, spent some time in the hospitals, as his health is not so good. Saltanat was his little princess, and she's suffering a lot. Me and mom, we suffer too, but we have support in each other. The first thing we're trying to provide it to my dad, but it's a different thing. I mean, like for him, his loss is, and I can say it's bigger, like huger, but he suffers. It's in different way.
He's not very verbal about it. Yeah.
Yes, and he's not very verbal about it. He's not talking about it. That's why all that emotions that he's keeping inside of him is affecting his health. And eventually, at this point, we have time to get out of this fight. I mean, like as before, it was, you know, like discipline, wake up at the same time, go through the materials of the case, meet the lawyers for a breakfast, talked about today, go to the court.
You were going non-stop.
Yes, it was like every minute was like allocated for the court, planned out, yes. At this point, we have a little bit more time to get to start feeling everything what we pushed before. We pushed to stay in this working regime, to continue the fight in the fighting mode. And right now, the fighting mode is off, so these emotions are coming back.
Well, I hope and I pray, as I'm sure our viewers do as well, that you take time for yourselves, for time to grieve, really, and to process everything that you've been robbed of, your sister, your parents' daughter. I hope you do have time to spend together, maybe reminisce, talk about it, or on your own, whatever works best, because everyone grieves in their own rhythm, own time, own way. But before we go, I would like to thank you and your family for becoming champions for the rights of those who are in abusive relationships, who don't have a voice, who maybe before did not believe that they could change their life situations. I think because of Saltanat and because of the way you fought for her, others will have power, inner power.
Everyone tells how lucky Saltanat is to have such a brother like me. I would say, in contrary, that I was lucky to have such an amazing person as Saltanat, my sister. She was like she was the best friend for me. We lived through a lot of different situations. We laughed a lot. We fought a lot for different stuff. Well, we're humans, and I mean, like, there's nothing that could. She was a sun for us, and this living for us, this is the only way I can describe it. It's like we living in a world without the sun, and I don't know how to change it at this point. I believe in some time we will go through all the stages of the grief, and we will be able to see the light again, but not at this point.
I as well wish for, rays of that light, of that sunshine, to return to your lives, and for you to be able to see it as well. Thank you so much for everything that you and your family have done in the past 6 months. I am once again sorry for your loss, as our viewers are, I'm sure. And thank you for this conversation. And anytime you need help, we're here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Aitbek. Thank you for being with us. My name is Timur Balambetov. Subscribe if you like what we talk about on this channel, because we will continue to raise the most important questions for our country, for our generation, and our society. Thank you and goodbye.